Yo, what's up everybody, Holding Ice with you here, bringing you Fairytail final season anime review. This is episode 321 titled Bind to Love. This was a very hype episode, kind of funny but irritating at the same time. It begins with them trying to get Actilogia to go into that black portal, the rift, time rift in the sky. And he actually gets to go through the rift and nothing happens. And then we find out the reason why nothing happened is because that time rift, Zeref found it as well a couple years back. But unlike Anna, who didn't bother to go near it to try to control it, Zeref did, and he has complete dominance over that rift. It's his, it's connected to him. So he has the rift closed. So that Actilogia was able to go through it with no problem, nothing. And I'm like, well, there goes your plan down the drain. Anna came up with a new plan though, using her celestial magic since she is a high-level celestial wizard. And she's going to force the gate open so they can try to push the Actilogia back in. But it's going to take some time. So she wanted the ship to like fight back and like stall Actilogia. And we also get to see Jalal. He said something to see ya, Ezra, I'm gonna go out there and finish this. So I guess he's going to use his space magic or Grand Chariot magic, however translation you want to go by. But his heavenly body magic, there you go. He's going to use that to fly in the sky and fight the Actilogia, which that's cool. Whenever we see Jalal in a fight, it's always a treat. He's one of my top 5 favorites, so I don't mind. But it's weird to me because Actilogia is the end all boss. Even Zeref himself, said Actilogia is the end all boss. He's the end of everything. The Dragon of Darkness. And you would think this Dragon of Darkness with all these powers, all these feats, high level mage, you would think he'd be able to catch the ship, right? Well, guess what? He has not caught the ship at all. And when he finally did catch the ship, the way they were able to shake him off, I was like, it makes sense. You can't say it's bad writing, but at the same time, it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Because all they really did was Ichika destroyed the jewel on the ship that negates dragon slayers from feeling motion sickness. So once that jewel was destroyed, Windy fainted, and Actilogia finally took damage. He was actually gasping and spitting up fumes from his mouth. And he had to let go of the ship and back off. And he was able to, use their 2nd generation jet and blast forward. And Actilogia was laughing. He was like, okay, I see how this is going to be. And I'm like, the Dragon of Darkness, the NR boss. Basically Fairytail version of Out of the Rim from Skyrim. And you can't catch a ship. And on top of that, the ship is the only thing hurting you so far. This is like the 2nd time the ship hurt him. The first time is when they crashed into him, when he was trying to sneak attack Windy and Jalal on them. They snuck up behind him and kicked them in the rib, crashed into his rib and sent him flying. And now this time with the motion sickness thing, and I'm like, wow. A ship is beating the Actilogia. Got 2 points over him already. No other character got that, and I'm like, yo, I can't believe Actilogia is being beaten by a ship. It's hilarious. People from Bleach like to talk about Chair-sama. Well, why don't we talk about Ship-sama? He seems to be pretty powerful too. And if you don't catch that reference, maybe you're not a Bleach fan, or maybe you are a Bleach fan but never heard of that reference, you might want to look up on the interweb or read the last, I would say, 100 or 200 mangas, or just read the whole Aizen arc or the end of it. You will understand what Chair-sama is. But yeah, again, people talk about Chair-sama, but Ship-sama seems to be pretty OP himself. But as that's going on, we get to cut over to Windy, Lucy, Happy and Gray. And we get this like a minute and a half of them just looking at the book of End. And they finally get the courage to open it. And all these letters, blood red comes out. And it shocks all of them. And Lucy catches on that this must be the lifespan and the story of Natsu. But of course it's in demon language, so they cannot read it. Or apparently they cannot. Maybe Lucy can. Who knows? When she looked at it like Not like it was a shock to her, but like she's seen this before, so that was kind of a weird expression. But then we cut over to the final part of the episode. Natsu versus zeref. Around like 3, 4, who knows. They've been going back and forth for a while. But he still captured Natsu in that black darkness of zeref. And basically he's like telling him his plan of what he needs to do to end all this. And the last person came to help Natsu was Miris, which is exactly what he needed for his plan to, go through, since he already had control of the Neo Eclipse. And basically Natsu was really, really upset at this whole conversation and him being pinned down, that he forced activate his Dragon Slayer mode, or his Dragon Force to say. And I love Natsu's Dragon Force because the first time, not the first time, but actually the second time we've seen Natsu fully activated is when Jalal gave him the Holy Flame and his flames became gold. Well, that's Natsu's original form now, how it looks, just like that. And I've always said that was the most powerful Natsu, the Holy Flame Natsu, and this episode kind of proved it, because Zeref was shocked when he was into this mode, and he states if you could become a dragon, that would have been greater. But Natsu replied, well, Igneo, make sure that it didn't happen to me because I'm human. And they both charged up their attacks like, shoot at each other. But Mavis, of course, being there, stepped in, and she told Natsu, wait, I want to talk to Zeref. I have a way to end all this. Unfortunately, Zeref wasn't hearing this, and he ended up taking all her magical abilities and powers, which is basically what Fairy Heart is. It's Mavis' whole being, which is infinite magic, and he added that to his infinite body, which is immortal. And as you see in one of my thumbnails, he's all white now. His hair is white, his clothes white. He got like these holy white fairy wings coming out, and he even states, now I'm a god. And that's basically how the episode ends. It was a really good episode. Now that Zeref is technically a god, or the god of this verse, he's most likely going to open the Eclipse Gate and combine that with Fairy Heart to rewind time. Since Fairy Heart, it's basically an infinite power source, the most powerful source. Combine that with the Neo Eclipse, he should have enough energy to rewrite all of history and go back in time like he wanted to. But of course, this is Fairytail. The good guys always win, so we're gonna have to see how Natsu and the gang stops him. Sadly, Maris is on the floor. Magic is part of your life force, so since he absorbed all her life force, I guess you can say technically now she's officially dead. But again, this is Fairytail, so we have to keep an open mind to see what happens. But other than that, it was a pretty good episode. I mean, the actologia and stuff, depending on what side of the fence you're on, it may be a yay or nay for you. For me, I'm kind of torn in between, because I think it was kind of funny how he couldn't beat a ship and how he couldn't even catch it when he finally did catch it. We found out he's still weak to motion sickness. Out of all the things that could have been a weakness, motion sickness is one thing that never disappears against Dragon Slayer. So that's weird but funny at the same time. And seeing how they use that against him, and how he just laughed but sarcastically and was like, okay, y'all got me. That was funny, but at the same time, it's like, it kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. And I guess you can say that's one of the downfalls to Fairytail, is Hiro Mashima is good at hyping up characters, making good guys and bad guys, and really good drawing and stuff like that. And a good studio is in control of Fairytail's A1 Pictures. But the problem with Fairytail will be how he ends his fights, always in an ex machina type of way. And it makes sense, but it's just too cheesy that people just don't like it. And the second thing about Fairytail that makes it bad is things like this, that even though they make sense, it's just kind of like, it makes sense, but it's one of those things that you wasn't expecting, and it doesn't really leave a good taste in your mouth when you watch it, and you be like, and you try to process what you saw. It's like, really? He's still weak to motion sickness? And on top of that, he can't even catch a ship, and he's like the strongest end-all boss creature. Again, he's the, from Skyrim, the Enarim, the Dragon of End Time. That's technically what the Actologia technically is. So I guess Hiro Mashima was probably based off of that, maybe. I always say Fairytail has some base of that, mixed with Dragon Ball in it, but it just, again, it was just hilarious to see that actor Logia couldn't catch a ship. But that was the episode, guys. Let me know what you like and didn't like about the episode and how you felt about it. What do you think about Zeref, who is now technically a god? The actor Logia stuff. What do you think? Do you like it? Is it a yay or nay for you? What are your opinions and thoughts on this? I would really like to know what more of y'all think. But that's all I have for you. And please in the comments write down Ship Shama over Share Shama. That'd be awesome. But that's all I have for you. Peace out and have a good one.